All right, real fast, Connor, what's going on the bench? Got some things happening tonight?
Thanks very much, Willie B. Yes, tonight we are going to honor throughout the evening, we're going to be honoring our Native American community. And so, as many of you know, Native Americans really started the game of lacrosse, and it's really important to honor them. And so we're going to have a color guard from the Native American community tonight. Sisters Nations color guard will be here. It'll be a special performance at halftime. Drummers will be in Suite 60 and 61. The whole game is going to be a good night tonight for Native Americans here with the Colorado Mammoth, as well as Wing Bowl will be at halftime. Those of you who have been around the Mammoth a long time know what Wing Bowl is. It is back tonight, and it'll happen at Center Field tonight here on Health One Field at Pepsi Center. So Native American Heritage Night and Wing Bowl, they're all coming up tonight with the Colorado Mammoth. Now it's time for the keys to the game. Upstairs to Altitude's Josh Gross and Andy Lindahl.
A season ago, the Rochester Knighthawks proved that the second half of the season is when differences are made. The Knighthawks made a run all the way to the Champions Cup to hoist the trophy. Colorado looks to emulate the performance of Rochester from a season ago. It's the Knighthawks and the Mammoth. The kickoff to March next here on Altitude. Two months of the National Lacrosse League regular season gone by, 2 to go as tonight the Rochester Knighthawks, the defending NLL champs in town, to take on your Colorado Mammoth. Hello everybody, welcome to Pepsi Center, welcome inside the broadcast booth. Josh Gross, my broadcast partner, Andy Lindahl. And Andy, it's all about goaltending in tonight's matchup. Rochester has a great one, Colorado has two young ones. Ty Belanger added to the 23-man active roster this week. He joins Dan Lewis. They're going young from here on out.
Yeah, if Colorado wants that second half run they've talked so much about, it's going to rely on goaltending. The goaltending has got to be consistent for Colorado. It's got to be better than it's been, and they've got a great example in the building tonight in Matt Vince as to how to play the position.
Matt Roik was released earlier this week. Dan Lewis in relief of Roik in a few games. He's shown some signs.
He really has, and he looked pretty good that last home game. He had a great stretch against Edmonton. Couldn't pull it off to get the win. We'll see what Belanger has to offer. I know the coaches are excited about his potential.
Yeah, Dan Lewis pretty solid in the 14-12 loss in Philadelphia last weekend as well. You mentioned Matt Vince. He's won goaltender of the year right now in the National Lacrosse League. He's the leader in saves, save percentage, and goals against average. He's a brick wall between the pipes.
Yeah, you can't let Vince get into your head, because if the Mammoth can get a few goals by him, especially early, they might be able to open the floodgates against a Rochester team that struggles to score themselves.
They do struggle to score. They're better on the road, though, better by 7.5 goals per game, averaging nearly 16 a contest on the road versus at home. For Matt Vince, he was property of the Colorado Mammoth for a brief time through a dispersal draft. Then John Grant Jr., that famous trade a few years ago that brought the great one, the great offensive player, to Colorado. The Knighthawks and the Mammoth from the loudest house in lacrosse.
Give it up for the Wild Bunch. Come on. Need you to be. Pepsi Center, are you guys ready to bring it tonight or what? We are definitely amping this place up tonight, so let me hear it. Upper level, are you ready? Come on, Mount Loud. Second level, are you ready? Right here with me. Lower level, are you ready? Tonight's our night, Pepsi Center. Now let's meet your Colorado Mammoth, led by the greatest mascot in the world, Wooly. Number 31, goalie Ty Belanger. Starting in the net, number 35, goalie Dan Lewis. Number 4 in transition, Jaden Gastaldo. Number 9, your team captain, Gavin Prout. Number 11, playing defense, John Gallant. Number 12, playing defense, Jared Park. Yeah. Number 13 in transition, Matt McLeod. Number 13, forward, Jordan McBride. And number 15 in transition, Ilian Gates. Number 16, forward, Adam Jones. Number 17, forward, Sean Pollock. Number 19, in transition, Cameron Holding. Number 21, playing defense, Chet Konecki. Number 23, playing defense, John Sullivan. Number 24, forward, John Grant Jr. Number 42, playing defense, Rory Smith. Number 44, forward, Jamie Lincoln. Number 62, playing defense, Creighton Reed. Number 66 in transition, Richard Morgan. Number 82 in transition, Joey Cupido. head coach Bob Hanley. Ladies and gentlemen, Pepsi Center, loudest house in lacrosse. Give it up for your 2013 Colorado Mammoth. And now, the Rochester Knighthawks. Number 45, goalie Matt Ving. Number 55, English Kelly. Number 2, Paul Dason. Number 4, Jamie Basin. Number 6, Dan Dawson. Number 7, Tyler Butt. Number 9, Craig Point. Number 10, John McGrady. Number 14, Matt Hummel. Number 10, Dylan Evans. Can't hear you. Number 24, Casey Powell. Number 23, Corey Vettelli. Number 25, Brad South. Number 26, Mike Kerr. Number 29, Dan Lloyd. Number 37, Scott Campbell. Number 39, Seth Smith. Number 88, Ron Glaze. Number 88, Connor Jansen. And number 93, Johnny Palace. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rochester Knighthawks. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the colors for tonight's anthem is the Sisters Nations Color Guard. Now please remain standing and kindly remove your caps for the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner, performed this evening by Amanda Ray.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, you had said it in the open. The Mammoth want to be just what Rochester was last year. You look in the game notes this morning, and Rochester said they're in this exact same position last year. Of course, they went on to hoist the Champions Cup. So that's why we talk about so much late season momentum. This is the perfect example why here on the floor tonight.
For Colorado, Dan Lewis between the pipes. It's his first career start. For Lewis, action-packed. Matt Vince on the other side, a two-time NLL Goaltender of the Year. Time now for tonight's face-off. Brought to you by your local Ford stores. Visit thinkfordnow.com. Face-off win for the Mammoth. Ilya Gaich was above 50% last week against Philadelphia, first game of the year that he eclipsed the 500 mark.
Well, and as you look for things to get going as the year goes along, maybe that's just it. Ilya is getting better and better every week and upping that face-off win percentage every week that he's in there. And I think it's still key to have a pretty good face-off guy come playoff time. So maybe that'll be the case by the time we get to April. But Ilya definitely starting to get comfortable with the role.
Grant knocked to his backside by Jamie Batson, the second-year man. Kept the ball, made a pass, but no harm against Rochester. The Mammoth in the home burgundy, Rochester road whites. The Mammoth leading the all-time series 6-3. Colorado won both a year ago in 2 of Matt Vince's 3 worst save percentage games of the season. Shot sails wide of Lewis between the pipes, 6 to shoot. Forced turnover, Jaden Gastaldo, the rookie. Wheels on, white jerseys back, the lead for Matt McLeod. Jamie Lincoln back in the lineup, held scoreless for 2 straight. He was a healthy scratch against Philly last Sunday. Lincoln switches fields. Prout has the ball tipped down by Lord.
Good sign, though, early. Prout had a cutter.
The scratches tonight for the Rochester Knighthawks, Joe Walters and Micah Kersey. Picked off by Joey Capito. Stephen Keogh was an all-rookie team performer last year. Capito's pass behind holding, but the second-year man tracks back for it.
Jordan McBride in the middle throwing some big cuts. Now his man goes out to take the offensive play with the ball. Big shot from McBride, but Junior there to scoop it back up.
4 to shoot, Colorado. Grant will have to chuck it, tosses back to McBride, and a 30-second shot clock violation out tonight for the Mammoth. Colton Clark and Joel Delgarno. Dan Coates, one of those second-year men who I still say is worthy of that all-rookie honors a season ago. He's out tonight. Jameson's first shot, that one rips off the pipe. It's considered a save for Lewis. And here's Gaich in transition. The trailer, Konechny, back to Gaich. Ilya wasn't expecting it, and a turnover.
That right there is a shame because that was a nice play. Nice little give and go 2-man game. They even had a third person in Creighton Reed, wide side, setting up the triangle. Nice break for the Mammoth. Hopefully next one pays off for him in a goal.
Now the 2010 NLL MVP, Casey Powell, the first American to win the honor. He sat out last year, is back to the team that originally drafted him in 1998. 3 to shoot. Capito shoves his man. Lewis, that time a save. Joey Capito, and a delayed penalty upcoming against Corey Vitarelli. The Mammoth will go 6 on 5.
Yeah, he just took a wild shot. It looks like out of frustration, a wild hack on the Mammoth player. Lincoln flipping that ball around.
Hey, he had it on the backside of
I wondered what he was setting up for a minute.
10 to shoot. Pollock rips one. Vince with the save, and the Mammoth on the man up. It'll be Vitarelli serving 2 minutes for a slash.
But again, nice little rotations. You look for little things when you're trying to break a bad string of games for the Mammoth, and unfortunately they're on a bit of a losing streak here. But you had Sean Pollock pop to an open little corner of the field with the extra man. John Grant Jr. found him with a beautiful lane to throw through.
Vitarelli's 6th penalty minute on the season. Junior, quick shot, and Vince makes the save. Colorado 51% on the power play, 68% kill for Rochester, but not this time. Jordan McBride from Gavin Prout, Colorado 1-0.
And a nice hop shot gets by Matt Vince. We talked about it in the early going, how important it's going to be for the Mammoth to just pump a couple in. This is a Rochester team that's not exactly brought a lot of offense to the table. So if Colorado can get a few goals ahead of them, that's going to bode well and maybe get Rochester to press, because this is a team that, again, has struggled to score goals. The strength of the team has been the defense and the goaltending.
Loose ball by Matt Hummel, his NLL debut. He was only activated a few hours ago. Good check by the assistant captain, John Sullivan. 3 burgundy jerseys and Dan Lewis standing there, and Matt Hummel. 4 gone by in the first quarter. And I don't know if you noticed, Andy, or not, but Colorado actually went strong right on that power play. 3 righties, 2 lefties. So Gavin Prout's the point man up top. A little change in the strategy. And it worked in the preseason. Jordan McBride was scoring on the power play. He's in there tonight. Kraut fires high and wide. Picked up Mike Kirk. 2-on-2, Kirk will slow. Now Dan Dawson, nicknamed Dangerous. His goal scoring way down from earlier in his career. He's almost exclusively a setup man with Rochester. Ball in front of the Mammoth crease. Rory Smith can't handle. 4 to shoot for Rochester. Jared Park will just let that 30-second shot clock expire.
Good to see Rory Smith back out there for Colorado again. You wonder what might have been different that last home game against Edmonton had he been available to maybe offer some defensive assignments against Mark Matthews.
Park splits a double team. One Syracuse alum against another. Sid Smith, a former #1 overall pick. McLeod runs into a soft double himself as Park trots off with 10 on the timer. Late man on is Pollock. Has the sky high to catch. Jones coming off a 4-goal, 3-assist performance, and Matt Vince takes that one in the chest.
Nice hop shot by Jones. Took a little bit bigger hop than he wanted, but still a nice shot, nice catch in traffic. So the ball's moving. But again, we saw this at the beginning of the Edmonton game. They just have to keep this kind of movement up offensively.
Dawson streaks in, ripped away by Adam Jones. I feel like Adam Jones, if he was just a defender in this league, he'd be one of the better defenders in the NLL.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's much Adam Jones can't do well. I guess we haven't seen him face off yet, have we?
5 shots to 2 in favor of the Mammoth. Make it 6. Make it 2-0. Jamie Lincoln, welcome back to the lineup.
Nice job by Jamie going to the rack. Yeah, you always got to make sure he hasn't stepped in the crease. Unfortunately, that's been a problem this year, but not on that shot, and Lincoln tallies another one.
10th goal on the season.
Here's the thing for Colorado. What they're doing right now, if this stays the whole game, they're going to notch a victory. And I say that because they have a tendency, there's been good ball movement, good backside movement, but again, that Edmonton game last game, the first game of the year, that kind of went away after early bursts of it.
Well, and Colorado, after having terrible starts for the first few games this season, has gotten off to some leads and then hasn't been able to maintain. The team just can't string together 60 minutes. Behind the back from Grant, I don't know how Pollock caught it, and McBride in traffic, and now it's Gavin Prout.
Yeah, I don't know how McBride found a way to get anything on that ball, catch it, and then get it out of there again. He was double teamed, sandwiched as soon as he caught the pass.
Jamison signed to a 10-year deal a couple seasons ago. It's the longest in NLL history.
Security.
Now Powell. Slowed. Flips to Joel McCready, the nephew of Pat McCready, who played forever for the Knighthawks. Speaking of McCready, tumble down to the turf, a 30-second shot clock violation. And as we approach the midpoint of the first quarter, it's 2-0 Colorado. This is the second goal of the game. Jamie Lincoln, 2-0 the home team. 2-0 Mammoth at home against the defending champion Rochester Knighthawks. Amp it up, Colorado, as your Mammoth takes on the East Division's Buffalo Bandits on Saturday, March 16th at 7 p.m. on Health One Field at Pepsi Center. For tickets, visit TicketHorse.com or call 303-53-HORSE. St. Patrick's Day the following day, Sunday, March 17th. We celebrate it from 7 p.m. on Saturday night, maybe straight through the night.
Maybe. And then we'll see what condition everyone's in for the parade come Sunday.
No, the parade is Saturday.
Is it Saturday?
Yeah, it's Saturday
morning.
morning.
Why is it Saturday?
The Mammoth has a presence in the parade.
Okay.
That's why. They
I'm
wanted
learning
to make
things.
sure, yeah.
Hey, lucky we talked about this. Now I won't miss the parade. Showed me the design for some pretty cool helmets. Everyone's going to have to wait a couple weeks. When are you going to unveil those on the website?
Game night. Maybe a day before. Lincoln, quick double team slides to him and ripped away. Paul Dawson scoops the handle. Dawson and Dan Dawson, one leaves the other, the brothers. Paul drafted as a goalie. He played 100 games in juniors as a goalie. Then made the switch here in the pros.
So you mentioned the Mammoth are going to have a presence in the St. Patty's Day parade.
Yep.
We got an illegal pick there. Are they going to unveil the kilt shorts out there? Will the kilt style shorts be on display in the parade?
I tell you what, they will be in an auction at the game on March 16th, with a portion of the proceeds benefiting Kroenke Sports Charities initiative to support youth lacrosse. Jones with 8 to shoot. Swings it across. Pollock to Junior. Duck under his man. John Grant, the dive shot. And the men who were traded, in essence, for each other, Matt Vince and John Grant Jr., one at the other's knees.
Well, and some respect shown. We see a lot of goalies go all hexstall on guys when they get into the crease, punching them in the back of the head and whatnot. Vince just politely asked Junior to get up and remove himself.
Jamison spins, twirls around Ilya Gaich on the crease. He scores. Cody Jamison's 15th of the season, a former all-rookie team performer. He's the leading goal scorer for Rochester, and it's now 2-1 Mammoth.
No, it's not a case. Watch this attempted check, though, right there. Jamison waited. Somehow it's like he saw out of the corner of his eye that Gaich was going to wind up for one last attempt at the shot. He pulls the stick back, so nice play, good awareness by Jamison. I think just a good goal that time for Rochester.
Gaich. This time will lose the face-off to third-year man Dylan Evans. Pressure from Colorado. And Scott Campbell retrieves it back to Dan Dawson. Now Craig Point. Stick is down. Dawson looking for room. Lewis makes the save and ends up with it off the backboards. Let's check in downstairs on the Mammoth bench with Connor McGahey.
Thanks very much, Josh. Just talked to Sean Ferris right after that last goal, and it was one-on-one defense. He's saying, where's the help? Help did not come from the Mammoth defense. One-on-one, Jamison was able to beat him. Back up to you guys.
Thanks, Connor. Now Matt McLeod, he sees help come. Sid Smith was looking for it. He got the help and got the ball back. Smith wears the captain's C that Prout dons proudly for the Mammoth. Prout involved in a trade to Rochester that got Ilya Gaich here to Colorado, but never played for the Knighthawks. Instead spent a year and a half up north of the border in Edmonton before being reacquired at the trade deadline in 2011.
There were a lot of moves made around that John Grant Jr. Matt Vince trade.
Park, swing move. Cody Jamison tumbles to the turf. Park still has it. Pulls it back down. McBride steps into a shot. The crow hop leaves for Grant. Pollock, bounce shot, and Vince saw just enough fit and corrals the rebound. Four and change to go in quarter number one. 2-1 Colorado. Capito with defense. Pressing out. Shot, goal.
You know, I was about to praise the Mammoth for keeping track of their man, decided to wait as Johnny Paulus gets the score there. And that was a case where McBride, you had 2 Mammoth players go with 1 guy on the crease. Paulus was smart enough just to pop out, found himself enough space to fire off a shot point blank at Dan Lewis. You see right there, and McBride was just turning around from realizing that they had 2 players go with the same man on the pick. And unfortunate, because the Mammoth really had stayed well with their defensive assignments up to that point.
Paulus's 11th goal on the season. He was an all-rookie teamer last year as well. 5th overall pick. He was 18 last year. He's just 19 right now. Sandwich defense and a crease violation on Vitarelli. Whistles. And we'll take a break from Pepsi Center. The game tire from the Knighthawks. The lovely ladies in the hot tub here from the Loud House. Back at Pepsi Center, the Knighthawks have tied it up with the Mammoth. 3:55 to go in the first. Nuggets fans, be sure and tune into Altitude tomorrow as your Denver Nuggets take on the Atlanta Hawks. That's on Monday, March 4th. Join Maya Starks at 6:30 p.m. for the pregame show to get all the latest news and updates on the Denver Nuggets and around the NBA. All right here on Altitude, your home of Denver Nuggets basketball. And what a win last night right here at Pepsi Center. What about 21 hours ago now, with Ty Lawson with the game winner.
Yeah, and then the little dance afterwards. I'm still trying to find out what the dance was about. That was an interesting way to celebrate, but who cares? You can do, you know what, you can invent dances however you'd like to when you make game-winning shots like Ty Lawson did. Now they go to Atlanta. They're in the middle of an important stretch for the Nuggets. The Avs about to begin a big road trip in Columbus. They then face Detroit and Chicago. So a lot of big games being played, not only on the road, but on the Pepsi Center turf here, as this is the 3rd night in a row Pepsi Center's seen action.
Colorado able to clear into the offensive end. Grant's pass is knocked down by Batson. Tall for Paul Dawson, and now he's one-on-one with Gavin Prout. Make it a 3-on-2 for Rochester. Dawson keeps. Casey Powell sees John Grant Jr. back. So Powell was the #1 overall pick in '98 by Rochester. Grant went #1 overall in '99 by the Knighthawks. 2 offensive players caught out there defensively for the Mammoth, and a big save by Dan Lewis, his most impressive one yet.
Yeah, really nice job of looking big and getting inside the player's head with him right on top of him yet again.
Gavin Prout still caught on defense. Powell sweeps into the left hand. That one wide. Sullivan, good pressure on Dan Dawson. Joey Capito, the featured player on tonight's game day program. He and John Sullivan with a double team. Dawson, face dodge, and a shot clock violation. That's got to be, what, 3, 4, 5 on Rochester in the first 12-plus minutes. The defense so far has stepped up.
Yeah, it certainly has. Now, this Rochester team has its own trouble scoring goals, as we kind of laid out already, but good defensive assignments right now for Colorado. And gotta love Joey Capito. He just never gives up on any play.
Grant on the crease. Did it go in or not? I saw the net move. I'm not sure if that was Vince's cleat or goalie stick or what it was. That was a weird play right down there, and Grant found himself wide open on the crease. Not anything any goaltender wants to see.
Like a broke Christmas gift. It was there, but it didn't work.
Jamison shot denied. Lewis makes back-to-back saves. Holding ahead to Reed. Good hustle by the trail official. You don't hear that every day.
He's a young guy. He's got the legs.
Kraut from Grant. Grant moving without the ball, gets it back. Double team on him with 5 to shoot. Holding, little face dodge himself. And he sends that one wide of the net.
I would have liked to have seen Cam Holding punch the goal, and just for no other reason, because it would have been nice to see him be rewarded for that nice catch on the pass.
Tonight's Colorado Mammoth telecast is being brought to you by your local Ford stores. Visit thinkfordnow.com. Holding with 4 goals as a rookie last year. He has not scored yet this season as Paulus gets laid out by Rich Morgan on the crease.
Yeah, Paulus looked upset, and I think he realized it was big Rich Morgan that laid the wood to him, and he just decided to let it go.
Vince sees just enough of that one to get his left shoulder pad on it as we're under a minute to go in the first. Lincoln stopped shy of the crease. Wasn't sure if that was for Jones or Kraut, but the captain has it. McBride moving in, shooting, bounce shot, and Vince kicks that one away. Brad Self, a former member of the Mammoth, he actually played pro hockey in Germany for a half dozen years before coming back, and is now a member of the Knighthawks. 20 seconds to go in the first. 5-second differential, game clock to shot clock. Chance of defense. 5 to shoot. Dawson wings that one wide. Jamison has it. Dawson makes a save. I don't know why was the shot clock reset? The goal goes in with 4/10 of a second left.
I don't know. I don't know what got caught up there. I was trying to, I don't know.
I thought that shot was well wide of the goal, and it looked like that's why Jamison had to heat. Maybe the shot clock just hadn't been reset yet.
Well, there's the flurry. First nice save that time by Lewis, and then just putting it in.
I think it was Vitarelli.
Going to be Vitarelli. And like you said, just under the end of the quarter. So a little bad luck there for the Mammoth in the first quarter.
Dan Lewis has a solid first 12+ minutes of the game. A goal from Jordan McBride, one from Jamie Lincoln. The Mammoth had a 2-0 lead. Since then, it's been 3 straight from the Knighthawks. 15 minutes gone by. The young stars for Rochester shining bright. quarter. Rochester with that lead. The goal scored 14:59.
All right, it's time to give to the Mammoth bench for the sideline report. Connor sent it by with Jamie Lincoln.
Thanks very much, Willie B. I am here with Jamie Lincoln. Jamie, you're back in the lineup tonight. How's it feel?
It feels good. Obviously, we have a great team, and they put the best players on the floor every night, and I just want to do my part.
You scored a goal in that first quarter. Walk us through it.
I just made a pick. It came through the middle, and ball found me, and it was luckily it went in. So,
You guys went up 2 goals. Rochester scores 3 in a row. What needs to happen here in the second quarter?
We just got to be consistent. We got to play, 60 minutes, and having goals at the end of periods or stuff that we can't have. But we just got to play well and play thoroughly all the way through this period, and things will work out.
Good luck, Jamie. Thank you.
Thanks, Connor. Well, Jamie Lincoln having an impact right away in his return to the lineup.
Yeah, but I feel like this is an important quarter, Josh. Mammoth up 2-0. We've talked about this early on. Some early leads is a nice save by Dan Lewis again. Some early leads have dissipated on him. And now here we enter the second quarter, and a 2-0 lead is now a 3-2 deficit. So let's see if they can answer here.
Grant one-on-one with Brad Self. One hand on the stick. Sandwiched, looking for Prout. And finds grass. Jones 4 to shoot. Feeding, Pollock crease off the crossbar. Fresh shot clock though for Colorado. Nice cut and not giving up on it by the Mammoth.
Yeah, nice shot. I thought that was dialed in to just go over the outside shoulder. Didn't happen.
Talked about how important this quarter is. The third quarter, the worst by the Mammoth statistically this year, scoring half as much as they give up. This quarter, not much better. 15 goals scored, 24 against. Jones takes one up in the face mask, flips Grant on the crease. Vince, glove save, shot, scores! Off the rebound, Jordan McBride, his second.
Jordan McBride put his offensive stick in the bag tonight and brought it to the arena, and the Mammoth are happy about it. Just good reaction after the John Grant Jr. shot. Nice job of corralling the rebound. As you'll see, Jones feeds Jr., who snuck in. Big bounce off the knee pad there, and then McBride there to finish the job.
Grant now, that's twice for Grant on the crease. Assists to Grant and Jones. And Geitch moving in, that one off the crossbar. 2 for the Mammoth, 1 for Rochester.
I'm not so sure as Park corrals it. Now hands it off to get the offense going. I'm not so sure that whoever's defensively playing on Junior that last one didn't think that Vince had made the save, because he was following Junior and watched Junior say something to the official.
Prout feeds, Lincoln spins and sent that one wide. Jones is there. Good pressure from Campbell. Jones flips behind his back to Grant. Off the short hop, Prout steps in and scores the 300th of Gavin Prout's career. Colorado by 1.
And I love it. I love that shot. Just a hard, low shot. It skipped right past Matt Vince. Gavin had time to wind up. He felt the space. Took advantage of it there. Just a nice job of dialing it into the quarter.
You think he knew he was sitting on 299 with that celebration? Procedure against Geitch. Tyler Burton credited with the win. The captain is 181st career regular season game played. He joins the 300 goal club. Jamison back to the goal. Looking for the pick. The Mammoth denies it. 6 to shoot for number 6. Point, tough catch. Sent it wide, 1 to shoot, and a shot clock violation. No. Rochester ball. Procedure against the Mammoth. Colorado in the first 2:26 of the first quarter scored 2 goals. Now in the first 36 seconds of the second, scores 2. Vitarelli with that end of the first quarter goal, and Johnny Pallas, who he feeds, his second on the night and second in the last 3 minutes.
And that one looked like Dan Lewis just guessed at it as it came out of the stick. He was starting to shift towards his inside pipe, caught the outside corner. See right here, nice little flip over to Pallas. And he faked low. Maybe that's what got Lewis moving, as Lewis tried to hold his ground there. And Yeah, he just didn't read it. I think Capito had him blocked, and he just didn't get a clean look at tracking the ball, and he just guessed to the wrong side. I think he thought the low one was going to follow through that low fake.
Andy, we talked about the importance of the quarter, and Colorado struggles in the second and third. Rochester 31-20, plus 11 in this second quarter against their opponents. They're a better first half team than second by far. Grant, little twist sidewinder that ends up in the stick of Ian Lord, seventh-year man out of St. Catharines, Ontario. 4-4 the score, 3:30 gone by. Josh Gross, Andy Lindahl, Connor McGahey. Palace is open and slid that one wide. I spoke with Dan Lewis before the game, and he admitted there were going to be some jitters. First start, but he said, I just have to get back to what I did in my run to the Minto Cup. And he looks like he has some confidence right there. A little squirrel of the stick.
I was going to say, his jitters ought to be gone. He's made a few big saves. He's seen plenty of action. He should just be in game mode now, not worrying about it anymore. And I don't see anything that would suggest he's got the jitters currently, but this Colorado team, how about it? You've got McBride and Palace with 2 apiece. Not exactly the top of the team's offensive list, but good efforts by both players for their teams offensively.
Good catch, Campbell in the 3-on-2, holding the last man back to retreat. Dan Dawson and Craig Point play catch halfway through the Rochester shot clock. Vitarelli, nowhere to go. Dodges to the crease, Palace catches, and he's got a first half hat trick. 3 of Rochester's 5 in the first 1940.
And again, that's about from the same spot as goal number 2 came from, and we're gonna have to see if again, Lewis was fooled. I mean, it looked like Lewis had a pretty clean look at it. You see him going low, he's starting to drop low, opened up the top pipe, and unlike the last one where Capito got in the lane towards the end, that looked like that was a fairly clean look for Lewis.
Procedure this time against Burton, it'll be Geitch ball. We'll check in on the Mammoth bench with Connor McGahey.
Thanks very much, Josh. Ask Gavin Prout when he came off the bench after scoring his 300th goal. He said, did you know that it was 300? He said, no, not at all. That's the focus of the Mammoth captain. Back upstairs.
Well, there's our answer. That's why we have Connor down there on the bench. Jones, a lot of pressure, and a moving screen is called against Grant, and now he's going to get an unsportsmanlike. Didn't like the call of the moving screen, and he'll serve 2 minutes.
2-minute penalty on the Mammoth. 2-minute penalty.
It'll bring us to a break. The Mammoth will be down a man for the first time tonight. There it is, Prout, number 300 in his illustrious career. Rochester now with a 1-goal lead and a man advantage for the next 2 minutes. Fans, it's time to amp it up for St. Patrick's Day celebration with your Colorado Mammoth. as it takes on the Buffalo Bandits on Saturday, March 16th at 7 p.m. on Health One Field at Pepsi Center. Get your Arby's Guys Night Out pack today. 2 tickets, 2 green beers or Pepsis, 2 roast beef classics, and a $10 Altitude Authentics gift card for only $29. Visit tickethorse.com or call 303-53-HORSE for your Arby's Guys Night Out package today. The Knighthawks 45.9% on the man up. Palace couldn't catch. Jamison shoots and scores. The Mammoth's penalty kill will slip again. It's below 50, 46.5 coming in. And now Jamison, he ties with his second, Rochester by 2.
Now you see the shot coming there, and Lewis just unable to make the save. And Jamison now getting involved. He had a 10-year contract, but Colorado now has gotten a 2-goal run and then promptly given up a 3-goal run. That 2-goal run had given them a 1-goal lead, and now Rochester answers with 3 back, so they make quick work of the power play that they had, and we're back to even. But Colorado again needs to stop this run like they did the last one. Last 3-goal run left them only down 1. This one, now they've got a 2-goal deficit to overcome, and like you said, unless they're going to change the trends in the third quarter, they really need to get some points here.
Jamison denied his hat trick by Dan Lewis. Palace, who has a hat trick, with the loose ball. Jamison wide open on the crease. Dan Dawson high and wide. Still plenty of time for the Knighthawks. Five to shoot. Vitarelli slides free. The pass doesn't get to him, and Powell turns it over. Reed, ahead Lincoln, and it's picked off. Now back the other way, a break for Vitarelli. In front, Lewis denies him. Colorado should have had a break. Rochester did.
Reed so badly wanted to get the ball up the floor, and you appreciate the thought. The problem was there were just too many guys coming to cut into the lane. Young guy will think maybe about it doing differently the next time, but great job by Dan Lewis to get a big save.
Pollock looking 5-hole, and Vince closes it up. Probably the easiest save of the night from Dan Lewis as we check in once again with Connor.
Yeah, guys, just to add on to what when we talked to Gavin Proud just a little bit ago, he said at the quarter break, he said, well, at 300 goals, that just means I'm old, doesn't it? And also, Ilya Gaich playing a little frustrated out there. His stick is bent, so is his backup, so he's playing with broken equipment right now. Back upstairs.
Jones dumps back and taking away Dylan Evans. Now a break again. Paul Dawson runs after it, so does Brad Self. And a little axe chop from Lewis to deny a 2-on-0.
Really nice job to snag that up and not let that become a scoring opportunity for Rochester.
How much can that hurt you as a player if your head of your stick is bent?
A lot. If you're not ready for it and if you don't realize it, it can throw off your aim in just the direction of where you're throwing.
Well, remember, Gaich not a guy, he took faceoffs last year, but he's not a guy who's taken faceoffs for his life. Those faceoff men tend to have a lot of heads. I know a guy who bought an entire box of them and kept them in his closet. He knew he'd go through a bunch. Gastaldo, Proud, open on the crease. Grant spins back out of it. McBride now looking for the hat trick and sends that one wide. They're going to say there was a reset as Vince must have gotten a touch.
Won't matter as Rochester corrals the ball. Some good back and forth action, but still no goals for the Mammoth to see produced by it. And they've had some good defensive moments, but again, you can't continue to let guys get open backside, and that's what's slowly begun to happen in this second quarter.
Smith switches on the pick, and it pops free to Lewis. Now a goalie interference on Vitarelli. He'll head to the bench. Colorado 6-on-5. The Knighthawks, 7.5 goals better per game scoring on the road than at home. 4 to shoot, Colorado. Pollock was looking for Lincoln. Mammoth has to shoot. Jones sends that one wide, and the Mammoth will go on the man up. Vitarelli serves, 2 minutes goalie interference. Colorado 1 for 1 on the power play.
Vitarelli still has something to say to the official as he goes by. It looked like a fairly clean-cut case of goalie interference. The reason why the pass was so bad, coming off of Lewis's stick. Now we'll see what the Mammoth do with this. Here's an opportunity to get one of those back against stymie the run that Rochester is on right now.
The Mammoth this time goes strong left. 3 lefties, 2 righties. Grant, one of those lefties, denied by Matt Vince. Jones a loose ball on a new shot clock. Kraut steps into that shot, sends it wide. Jones there. Jones shoots and scores! Adam Jones, his 15th goal on the season, his 6th on the power play. Vitarelli served twice, the Mammoth has scored twice.
And that big one-hopper coming from Jones, big overhand shot pays off yet again. This time getting a left-handed goal. 1 right, 1 left on the power play for Colorado, but just a great job of making that pay off. Now we'll see if they can't get even again before we hit the end of the quarter. Scrum down there in the face-off circle.
Jones, last year's Rookie of the Year. He's been much more active offensively for the Mammoth, taking many more shots in the last 2.5 games. Colorado looks to tie it up. Grant around Kirk, and it scores! His first on the night, his 24th on the season. We're tied at 6.
Nice job by Junior. Blowing by, pulling him even. Felt like he was pressing a little bit, to be honest with you, in that first quarter, Josh. Maybe this will relax him a bit. I would imagine, I don't know for sure, but a good job if he puts that head down. Looks like he's going to try to bounce it on Vince again, gets him dropping, and then puts it over the shoulder. Vince just not sure what to do there. 1 goal, 3 assists for Junior on the night. You know he wants to continue to show Rochester that they should have just let him spend his whole career there.
Well, and it's interesting because I think both teams won. Rochester got a goalie, and Colorado got an MVP.
Yeah, the league's MVP last year. One of the more incredible stories in sports. Had a highlight for the ages.
Grant's bucket goes tumbling off from Sid Smith. Nothing called, he puts it back on.
And he has to leave the field as the shot clock is running down, and now we've got a timeout as there's traffic on the floor.
Unhappy are the Mammoth fans and the Mammoth bench. Adam Jones and John Grant Jr. Speaking of Junior, he tied the game at 6, going over the right shoulder. We're approaching halftime at the Loud House. .403 to go, second quarter, tie game Rochester and Colorado. Fans, hold your company gathering, birthday party, or other special event right here at Pepsi Center with group ticket pricing. For an upcoming Mammoth game, call 303-405-1101 for group information today. Andy, talk about little spurts, little quick spurts. The Mammoth goals, the first two scored in a span of 2:26. The next two scored 36 seconds apart. The two after that scored 26 seconds apart. And Brian Langtree, whose number 6 jersey hangs from the rafters, he was known for starting some runs for Colorado.
And he's receiving love. It's a little strange to see him in the stands like that, isn't
It is.
it? You ever see him on the bench, you think, in the future? Is coaching in his future? You were around him a long time.
He actually was coaching in the Midwest Indoor Lacrosse Association for the Colorado Sabretooths this fall. Obviously coaching at the high school level for years here in the Centennial State. Jamison shoots. Lewis gets it up on the shoulder. Lollipop pass to Capito. And the Mammoth looks to regain the lead. Out of the reach of Jones, who had Campbell draped on him like a trench coat. Proud again, stuck back defensively. Quick shot point, it comes to Proud. Ahead to Ilya Gaich. Can he outrun Rochester's defense? Shoots, and Vince with the save. Gaich tips it away.
I think he was in the crease when it happened, though. He had not cleared the crease. Vince had dropped the ball, so it was free to play, but Gaich, I think, was still in the crease when he snapped it out to mid-floor.
Well, and Colorado might have gotten a tad bit lucky. It was bang, bang, but some of the officials this year are calling that quick restart as they implemented in 2012, as that would have been a delay of game 2-minute penalty, but not called. I think the correct move by the officials. Vitarelli couldn't handle the bounce passes. He was all alone on the crease. Finds his way right back there. The ball pops free. It hits Lewis. Denied. I think Jared Park made that save. Are we playing or not? Creighton Reed's all the way in the offensive end.
We're not.
You didn't know the answer? Nobody did.
Well, I figured I better watch Reed while you watch down at the goalies.
We're both looking left and I'm looking right, so here's Vitarelli. Ball pops, Lewis, and then Park, and that's when it was whistled dead, but Creighton Reed figured pick up and go.
Why not?
Lincoln
till the
flips
whistle.
to Grant, excuse me, Andy, a illegal screen against Colorado. The trail man looked for the stick of Ian Lord, but he flips to safety. Jamison one-on-one Capito, and Lewis with another save.
Nice job by Capito, though, getting underneath Jamison and not allowing him the true line that he wanted. That allowed Lewis to step over and protect and really seal off that side of the goal.
Jones fresh off the bench, low shot. That's really, what, first or second time Colorado shot early in the clock tonight.
Yeah, not too often. It's good, move it around, try to break the defense down a bit.
Vitarelli, give and go. Lewis bites, denies, and that one tips off a Mammoth defender. No goal. I thought it might have gone in, another own goal. The flag is out from Rochester, and we'll get another look. Mike Hazen wants a second peek at that one.
Just wants the official to be sure. Now, the official was right on top of it, so if he missed it, I'll be a little surprised. But it looked like, I mean, there was a lot going on in the play. But
well, and so tough for the officials, because when the goal pipes actually move, the goal plane stays the same. It's still the white line on the turf. So really tough to see if the ball crosses that line or not. We'll get the look the official gets.
Well, and I think the reason why I'll have faith in the call initially is because the official called Vitarelli right on the crease over here, as you'll see. Now, we also have to pay attention to what's going on the backside. Now, he's not in it as of yet, but he is in it now before it breaks the plane. That's going to be impossible to tell, really.
Yeah, I think Vitarelli's in the crease before the ball goes in. The ball does go in. It does break that plane. Here's the reverse angle.
This is going to be a case where if it would have gone on the initial bounce, I think he'd have a goal, but it does not.
See, the ball's still in his stick. The ball goes in there. I think it's a crease violation. And Lewis does a nice job just to deny Vitarelli of that quick stick goal, right? I mean, he closed that pipe up to force Vitarelli to go behind and come back.
And Vitarelli's watching the end of the play from the crease, from ground level. So I don't know how you overturn this. Boom, it's right there. And oh, gosh, worst place in the world for it to ricochet if you're Sullivan.
Sullivan, that was similar to soccer, our good friends the Rapids with their first kick here this evening.
Now, it might have been a little bit higher, but the bottom line is that is a tough area. If this is a goal, that is truly insult to possible minor injury.
Well, that ball is definitely not in. Boy, would that be painful for the Mammoth if that call gets overturned. A very long look at this. And he's touching the crease.
Well, I think what the official's trying to determine, because you have Sullivan lifting the pipe up, is we're about to get the call. I think he's, yes. I think what he was double checking was because Sullivan was lifting the pipe up, was he even with the goal line as you had laid out? Because then if it hits him while he's even with the goal line, that would have been a goal.
Yeah. No goal, still tied at 6. Bob Hamley, got to be excited by that one.
And if some of the equipment on Sullivan would have helped on that goal, he never would have heard the end of it in the locker room.
Grant behind the back, Lincoln on the crease. A save by Vince up into the net and a Colorado possession. 42 seconds. Pollock kicks it, and that could be trouble. Capito quickly over there for Kirk. There was a whistle behind the play. What was the whistle for? That was bizarre. I think I heard a whistle. The Rochester player let up. Capito got the ball. There's 30.6 seconds left on the game clock. Whose ball? Rochester ball. So Vince will clear. The Knighthawks will go empty net. Hamley beside himself on the Mammoth bench.
Shot clock, game clock, pretty much identical. Maybe a 1/10 of a second or 4/10 of a second between them. Basically, the Mammoth needs one stand going to the half even and figure out a way to get a good third quarter coming out of the locker room.
Sullivan is high up in the zone. Jamison back, moving in. Powell, a save. Capito looking for it. Jamison feeding to Paulus. End of the first half. An entertaining, exciting first half. 6-6 the score. Credit to Dan Lewis in his first career NLL start. John Grant Jr. was denied once. Jordan McBride wasn't. Johnny Paulus had 3 in the first 30. We're tied at 6. The Toyota halftime show is next on Altitude. Welcome back to Pepsi Center. This is the Toyota halftime report. 6-6 the score, 30 minutes of play gone by. The Mammoth scored the first 2 goals of the game. Rochester answered with 3 to end the first quarter, and then Colorado responded back with 4 of its own to tie things up through 30 minutes of play. Dan Lewis's first start in the National Lacrosse League. He came in with 70 minutes of play this season after being signed in late January. 17 saves for Lewis. On the other end, the 2-time goaltender of the year, Matt Vince, had 18 of his own. We stand tied at 6 apiece. Let's take a look at the first half highlights. And for Colorado, it was all about scoring back-to-back goals. A goal 2 minutes, 26 seconds apart, a goal 36 seconds apart, and then this one from Adam Jones, followed by a goal from John Grant Jr. Those ones just 26 seconds apart. So Colorado offense has clicked back-to-back and kept them in the game. Dan Lewis standing up tall on that shot. A little kick save to deny Joel McCready. And then one in the chest, as well as a denial of Vitarelli on the breakaway. Dan Lewis has been really good, and that's what Colorado has needed here in the first 30 minutes of play as we take a look at the American Furniture Warehouse first half stats. Shots on goal basically even, the saves as well. Nothing really jumping out. The Mammoth has converted on both of its power plays, which is big considering the Knighthawks lead the National Lacrosse League at better than 68% on the penalty kill. The leading scorer in the first half belongs to Rochester and Johnny Powers. He has 3 goals in 3 shots on goal. For Colorado, a couple goals from Jordan McBride. Adam Jones, a goal and 2 assists. And Gavin Trout with a goal and a couple of hairs. This is KBPI's wing bowl. It's how many wings can you eat? Mongo, a 6-time champion with the GoPro on his head, chowing down. A contest that went away for a year, but it's been back for the last couple. And big bellies, and not sure what these guys do after the competition is over. The second half is coming up next here on Altitude Sports and Entertainment. This has been the Toyota Halftime Report. The Rochester Knighthawks and Colorado Mammoth both in need of a victory. The third quarter is next. We're back at Pepsi Center, start of the third quarter. 6-6 the score between the Rochester Knighthawks and Colorado Mammoth. A tribute at halftime to the originators of the game in The Native American community, of course, very prominent on the Rochester Knighthawks. And then the Wing Bowl. Two very different forms of entertainment in the 18-minute halftime. And for Colorado, a vital final 30 minutes to this game. The Mammoth 2-5, losers of 3 straight. The Knighthawks 3-5. And they actually scored. The Knighthawks were 3-5 a season ago when they went on to make a run to the Champions Cup. Ilya Gaich and Craig Point will take the third quarter forward faceoff. Mammoth in the home burgundy, Rochester the road white with the teal trim. And now one of the men on the Knighthawks bench, it's Paul Day, a former head coach. He's an assistant man for Rochester, looking for an explanation. Seems content with whatever he received. And tonight's third quarter face-off, brought to you by your local Ford stores. Visit thinkfordnow.com.
Well, Josh, we've seen a lot of quick starts to the games early. I think a quick start to the quarter is almost imperative for Colorado. Again, this is a team in Rochester that struggles to score goals.
Point lost the handle, got it back. Lewis stood up for the save, and Capito stood up for the loose ball. Capito stays on the offensive end. Hammered by Batson, the bounce pass to Pollock. 8 to shoot for the Mammoth. A Capito pick, he gets bulldozed over. Now just 4 to shoot. Grant feeds into the crease. Jones, crazy shot, and it sails high of Vince. Now Powell has it knocked away and scooped up Jarrett Park. 3-on-2. Jones shoots, Vince with the save.
That was a nifty check by Jones to get that free from Powell. Too bad he couldn't make it pay off on the other end. But again, you said it earlier, there's not much on a lacrosse field or floor that Jones doesn't do well.
Edmonton winning the Battle of Alberta in the second quarter. It's 8-5 rush. Dawson's shot denied by the stick of Dan Lewis. And the Mammoth has 5 losses, but every team in the West has 4 or 5 losses. And this season, there's a lot of work to do. You got to get back in the win column, but I mean, they could win the West still.
Yeah, this is a league where you usually, it's a little lane for Lincoln, you usually kind of figure out who the contenders are in March, right? Late in March. The last couple of years, it's always been about the run late, which is what I know the coaching staff has talked about with the Mammoth this year. You want to be playing your best lacrosse late. But sometimes that's easier said than done.
Powell looked to sneak one in there to Johnny Paulus, but the double team held strong. Reed running with Cam Holding. The defense gets back. Don't think there were numbers there from the get-go. Grant with a goal and a few helpers in the first half. He had 18 points in 2 games against the Knighthawks in 2012. Pollock faked the shot. Bouncer not on Cage. Gets his own rebound. You don't see that very often in the National Lacrosse League. And it'll count as a 30-second shot clock violation as we go down to the Mammoth bench and Connor McGahee.
The quote, guys, thanks very much, of the night so far has been balderdash off the back of the bench. That was the quote from head coach Bob Hamley about the officiating at the end of the second quarter there with that slash on Joey Cupido. Balderdash. That's been the quote of the night.
Open is McCready, and he scores. A beautiful feed from Dan Dawson, who 1 season ago had 78 assists. He picks up one there to put the Knighthawks ahead.
Well, just a nice little behind the back pass, and then McCready. Man, that's tough because Lewis had so much of the goal covered up. McCready found the one little crease that he left open for him. So that's where you just kind of tip your hat for the nice shot. But again, the Mammoth cannot allow a player, and we've got an illegal procedure, Rochester out of the box early. Mammoth just can't allow somebody on top of their goalie like that, Josh.
McCready's first goal on the season. it was Matt Hummel in his NLL debut who jumped off the line too early on the faceoff. McBride leaves to Lincoln, a couple of goal scorers. Jones down to the turf. Lincoln runs through the crease. Adam Jones, little wobbly getting up. We'll keep an eye on him on the Mammoth bench. That's about as slow as you'll ever see from Adam Jones.
Yeah, I hope he's okay. I don't like, he's looking down at possibly that left leg, now talking to the trainers there. Let's hope he's okay. Hopefully he just maybe tweaked his ankle a bit.
Powell's bounce pass to Dawson was errant. And now check Konechny.
Conspicuous by its absence on Jones is that gigantic knee brace, so I hope he's okay.
Grant leaves for McBride. And Jones back out on the turf, but it's a over and back against Colorado. We check in on a report on Adam Jones with Connor.
Thanks, Josh. You know, I just talked to Sean Ferris about Adam Jones. He got a cross-check to the back of the head. When I asked if he was okay, Sean Ferris said, yeah, he's fine. He's just angry. Back upstairs.
Well, maybe that injury, if we can call it that, is the best medicine for getting him fired up as Point falls to the turf after running into the wall that is Rich Morgan. Colorado will have possession deep in the Rochester end. Whistled in as Matt McLeod hustles to it. The officials will whistle it in, even if there's not a player there necessarily. Grant through the screen of Rory Glaves. He's there with Adam Jones. 2 white jerseys, 2 burgundy, and it's Rory Glaves who scoops it up. 9th-year man out of Niagara Falls, Ontario.
Just good position
Shots
by
favoring
Vince.
Colorado by 1. Excuse me, Andy.
Good position by Vince. I don't know that he ever saw that, but it bounced off his knee pad, went straight up into the air.
Reed wasn't expecting the ball off the bench. Powell and McCready exchange an unintentional chest bump. Powell shovel. A lot of burgundy there and only 1 white jersey, and it ends up with the burgundy jersey of Cam Holding. The only times these teams will face this season, the tiebreaker between these teams would be determined tonight. Pollock, room to shoot, was looking for the pass around his man, and Vince with the save. Now the wheels of Jamie Batson. Grant can't keep up with him, but Lewis stays with him step for step and save for save.
Batson was shot out of a cannon. Now Capito going just as fast the other way. Wow, Batson got down the floor quickly, didn't he?
He's been in coverage on John Grant Jr. for much of the night, and that's the matchup that ended up in the transition opportunity for the Knighthawks. Prout has it flutter out of his stick. Pollock there. Lincoln shot. Did beat the shot clock, but didn't put it on Cage. It's a 30-second shot clock violation and a break zone at Pepsi Center. The Knighthawks with the lone goal to start the third. Rochester 7, Colorado 6. Back at Pepsi Center in downtown Denver in a moment. 7-6 Rochester midway through the third quarter. Mammoth fans, tune in as Colorado hits the road to take on the Toronto Rock. Face-off starts Sunday, March 10th at 10 p.m. Catch all the action right here on Altitude, your home for Colorado sports.
Well,
fans up and dancing to Gangnam Style. The Mammoth offense wants to get the fans on their feet with another goal. Matt Vince squatting like a catcher between his pipes. Rochester down the offensive end. Dawson looking for a feed, finally gets one through to Vittorelli. Vittorelli gets it right back, and a kick from Lewis to deny. Dan Dawson, during the All-Star game, scored a goal in the fourth quarter here in 2009 and went in the hot tub and stayed there for the rest of the game. That's where I've been trying to call games from since then. Goal from Adam Jones on the backside. I don't know how he caught and got a shot off at no angle.
That's what the Mammoth needed, though. Now you're even again, and we can see if they can't put a nice little run together here in the third quarter. You've already mentioned their scoring troubles, and the numbers favor that point. But again, this is the team they're going to break their third quarter woes to do it against, although defensively they're mighty tough to score against.
I think the only way Jones gets that off is with a little twister, which we saw one of the Knighthawks players score with earlier today. Takes such strong wrist as Reed has pressure, and Ilya Gaich battles it back to Reed. Colorado has it across midfield, but pressure from the Knighthawks. Holding in, shoots off the pipe, off Vincent in, and just like that, 19 seconds after they scored earlier, Colorado another back-to-back. Holding's first of the year, Colorado with the lead. That's a mouthful.
So trends from the night, if Colorado gets a goal, another one's coming within the next 20 seconds. How long did it take that? We've had the
19.
countdown clock.
That was a long 19.
It's getting relatively quicker.
Holding was a sniper in college. Scored 120 goals as a senior, which was, I think, 40 some odd more than the number 2 man in the country. Plays a much different role with the Mammoth and gets his first this year after 4 in 2012. Mammoth defender just lying on his back is John Gallant. And Colorado lucky that the open man was not found. Dan Lewis grabs one of his teammates' gloves off the turf. He's not even looking at the play. Now he is. Runs all the way over to the Mammoth bench and retreats to the goal.
I like the thought by Lincoln. The two players in front weren't ready for it.
Prout flipped to Grant. Little quick stick, couldn't put it on Cage. Prout, 2 to shoot. No reset, the ball never went on goal. So now it's goals for the Colorado. 2 minutes, 26 seconds between the first two. 36 between the next, and 26 to 19 for the two here in the third quarter. Vittorelli thought about shooting before catching. Gallant has him pinned on the boards. Reed over there to help. Powlis thought about it, feeds for Dan Dawson. Winder from the outside, and the game's tied.
Neither team gaining much separation, and both goalies having trouble with shots just like this one from Dawson. That was just one of those where you just throw it by the goaltender.
Dawson's first on the night to go along with 4 assists. He is top 10 all-time in NLL scoring, and he hasn't missed a game since his rookie year. This is his 12th season in the NLL. He's the Tom Brady of the National Lacrosse League, a 6th-round pick who's been fantastic. Too tall for self and a turnover.
So you're telling me he dates a supermodel and wears Ugg boots as well?
Can we keep it just to his play on the field? Frankly, I don't know who Dan Dawson's girlfriend or wife or significant other might be.
Yeah, I guess Brady's married, huh?
Lord leaves, Campbell scores. The Mammoth's mantra now becomes the Knighthawks. Scott Campbell finds the back of the net in transition from Ian Lord. Campbell's third on the season. Rochester back up by 1.
You just see a transition goal and pipe to pipe. Dan Lewis moving around. That's just well played by Rochester.
Adam Jones again a little slow to get off the turf. Dawson with the loose ball after the Tyler Burton win. He's got drapery in the form of Cam Holding and Ilya Gaich. Holding leaves for Gaich, good loose ball, and retreats. Gaich ripped away, and Dawson right there for the loosing. Dan Dawson's wearing number 6. Paul Dawson's wearing number 2. They're both big bodies, 6'5" and a combined 433 pounds. Vitarelli catches, and Lewis might have gotten that one off the helmet. Jamison tries the air gate stuff and is denied. Sullivan, loose ball and across the timeline.
Sullivan throws a little pick before he heads off.
Prout one-on-one with Lord. Ball up into the stands and a timeout on the floor. Gavin Prout had it checked away as he says hello to the Rochester bench. The Colorado bench looks to draw something up. The Mammoth now leads, or trails by 1. Wild Bunch finishing up its performance late in the third quarter, 9-8 Rochester. Avs fans, be sure and tune into Altitude tomorrow afternoon as your Colorado Avalanche takes on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Join Kyle Keefe at 12:30 p.m. for the pregame show to get all your latest news and updates on the Avs and the NHL. Right here on your home for Colorado Avalanche hockey, Altitude Sports and Entertainment.
We need to say hello to our friend Hunter Rallstad, who's in the booth with us here right now, Josh. He's a big Mammoth fan. From what I understand, other kids watch cartoons. He just watches Mammoth lacrosse.
Love it. Johnny Paulus loses it as he lost the defender. Capito thought he had the loose ball. It squirted to Richard Morgan.
I did have to have a talk with Hunter's parents. He said you were his biggest idol right now. I said we're going to need to up that a notch as we go along in life.
Prout looking for McBride. And Pollock couldn't handle with 2 Knighthawks around him. Jaden Gastaldo is all the way back in front of the crease, not paying attention. Now he slides over to help as Joel McCready was a bit slippery. Gaich takes a whack on his calves, keeps possession. Corey Vitarelli now caught back defensively, and Vitarelli just lays one into Gaich.
Gaich not letting him leave either. Let's see if Gaich chooses to leave the floor. He's going to stay on for this possession.
Grant, shot. Matt McLeod is there. Colorado looking for one. Prout, way to lay out. Gaich has it, but a shot clock violation. Good hustle there by Gavin Prout, though. Otherwise, it would have been numbers for the Knighthawks.
Yeah, and it almost saved a possession and a shot chance, but that's what you love seeing out of the captain.
Capito comes back to help. Park one-on-one with Jamison. Jamison dive shot, no goal, crease violation. Rochester challenged in the first half. The Knighthawks trying to get another look. Rory Smith was being talked to by the official.
I hope Lewis is okay. He got slammed into hard on that left side hip. A little gimp in his walk, but
now they're saying it's Colorado ball. Park played in the noughts for Syracuse. Cody Jamison transferred there and scored the overtime game winner in the championship game in '09. In probably the best Division I lacrosse game in history. Tough catch from Jones, shot from his knees, and Vince denies. You remember that Syracuse-Cornell game, Andy? Cornell had the lead. All they had to do was heave it to midfield. Colorado forced a turnover, or excuse me, Syracuse forced a turnover inside 20 seconds. Tied it with a couple seconds left, and in overtime, it was Cody Jamison. Speaking of Jamison, he makes it 10-8 Rochester, spinning through the defense.
And just weird trends continue. That's a hat trick now for Jamison, and another 3 in a row for Rochester. So Colorado puts 2 in. Rochester usually answers with 3. That's just the way this game's gone.
Capito, loose ball. He was aiming for Cam Holding, who had his first of the season tonight. Holding keeps it on the wild swing and wiffle bad miss by the Knighthawks. Feed Grant around the world. And Matt Vince just stands there and has it end up in his left knee pad.
So
back
quick.
down to Connor McGahee.
Yeah, Josh, Sean Ferris not happy with his defense after that last Rochester goal. Said you can't get locked on your guy, you got to help out. You got to get away from that man-to-man defense. That's 2 or 3 times that exact same scenario has happened tonight.
Richard Morgan getting his stick knocked away. Thanks to Connor for the report.
Jones
Pollock
feeds McBride. That one's behind the goal. Grant absorbs a check from Campbell. McLeod to Jones, still finding his way in through 4 defenders and sent it wide. Matt McLeod swings at it and makes contact with his hand. It'll be Nighthawks ball with 32 ticks left in the third.
I thought that was going to find Twine when Jones wound up. He looked like he had Vince at his mercy. He got a big shove from behind that just made it impossible to finish it. Now we'll see Vince leave the floor with 19 seconds left.
Attendance tonight, 16,118. Enjoyed the beautiful day in Colorado earlier, mid-60s on the thermometer. Powell behind the back. Dawson was looking for that cross crease, and it works. Vitarelli on the feed from Dawson. Rochester with its largest lead of the game, and this time they score with 1.4 seconds left in the quarter. One time it was 0.4 of a second left. This time they left an entire second more than that.
You see Sullivan trying to give chase. Again, they were a man down because of the last 19 seconds. They pulled Vince, extra attacker on, and Rochester takes advantage of it.
That'll bring us to the end of the third quarter. The Knighthawks explode for 5 goals in quarter number 3. Joel McCready with 1. Adam Jones had a tough finisher. Cam Holding with his first of the season. The Knighthawks by 3 through 3 from the loudest house in lacrosse.
And now it's time to go live to the Mammoth bench for your neighborhood Toyota Story Sideline Report. Connor standing by with Adam Jones.
Thanks very much, Adam. So quickly here, Adam, you took a cross check to the head last quarter. What happened there?
I can't remember. I think, I don't know. I think I got a stick. I'm not really sure.
But you're all right, though.
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right. You got some special instruction from Coach Ed Como. What was that?
We just got to play a little better, pick our shots, and hopefully get a couple goals this quarter.
Great. Good luck in the fourth.
Pardon me?
Good luck in the fourth quarter.
Thanks.
2 goals, 2 assists, 5 loose balls for Jones. He had 4 goals and 3 assists last game. Capito got leveled at midfield. The Mammoth bench in angst over no call. Colorado has to play catch-up. Jones from Grant, room to shoot. Vince got just enough of it. I don't know if he saw it the whole way in, but he managed to get enough. Now back checking from Colorado. Heaved from Kirk, and it goes to Jarrett Park. Tonight's Colorado Mammoth telecast is being brought to you by your local Ford stores. Visit thinkfordnow.com. McLeod crashes off the bench, and Prout turns it over to Paul Dawson. Dawson had that stick in the passing lane, and it hit his mesh. Jamison, who has a hat trick tonight, switches fields to Casey Powell. Powell, happy hands, happy feet. Now behind, a dive shot from McCready, and he made contact with the crease. Edmonton still maintaining its 3-goal lead over the Roughnecks. That game in the third quarter. We're in the fourth here from Pepsi Center. Pick to free Grant. His shot knocked down by Rory Glaves, and John Grant was knocked down as well. Ahead of the pack, Dawson denied by Lewis. Grant stays out there. 3-on-2 Colorado. Lincoln leaves for Grant, feeding Capito. Maybe one too many passes.
That was a good play, and I like the ball movement. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out towards the end. Like you said, maybe you'd like to see Junior take that shot, but Capito was coming in with a pretty good angle.
Capito has a finishing touch. Vittorelli frees himself from his man, and John Gallant gets the loose ball.
Dan Lewis having another pretty good night, I'd say, for Colorado. I know right now it shows 11 given up on the board. And there's maybe a couple of outside ones he'd want back, but he's had a lot of traffic in tight on him, and he's made some big saves for his team.
Came in with a 10-2-6 goals against average, 800 save percentage as Colorado flying through the air. Matt McLeod, his 6th on the season. Colorado back to within 2.
And if history repeats itself, it's going to be about 11-10 here in, what, 15 seconds? What are we ticking off?
Well,
2-3
every
seconds
time it's
between
shaving
goals?
down.
Yeah. So off this face-off, I expect pretty much a goal.
Could have easily been procedure on Paul Dawson as he was standing on that line before the face-off was even whistled in. Colorado's got to go quickly if they want to keep that shaving time off back-to-back goal streak alive. But Jaden Gastaldo will wait for his offensive mates to get on the floor. Lincoln has a pick set for him by Pollock. Proud, who had his 300th of his career tonight. Pollock gets it. Grant back, shoots wide. Batson off the backboards. Pressure from Pollock. Bouncer to Dylan Evans.
Nice two-man play between Lincoln and Pollock. Again, another one where maybe you'd like to see Pollock shoot, but I'm not sure he had the balance he wanted to get it off in time.
Dawson circles Casey Powell, and an illegal screen by Rochester.
You mentioned this at the top. Rochester suffers from a lot of shot clock violations, and we're seeing it right now, giving the Mammoth an opening to get this to a 1-goal game. Early in the fourth still, no need to pressure.
McLeod had Colorado's last goal. McBride from Grant, he scores! All right, it wasn't as quick as you and I thought it might be, but it's a hat trick for Jordan McBride. Colorado goes back-to-back, and the Mammoth now to within one.
And he just continues to knuckle it into the 5-hole there on the hop. His low shots have been tough for Vince tonight. Watch the Mammoth working it around, backside, nice hop shot again. McBride getting it done. Now, the Mammoth cannot allow another 3-goal run, which has kind of been, again, customary. Capito has it.
Capito keeps, shoots, and Vince gets enough of it. 19 seconds between Mammoth goals 7 and 8. A minute 19 between Mammoth goals 9 and 10. Downstairs to Connor McGahee.
Yeah, guys, you were just talking about shooting high. That's been the message from Ed Como and his instruction from Bob Hamley as well as shoot high, shoot high, shoot high. It's been successful so far. Gavin Prout just kind of nodded his head back to me in affirmation. Shooting high is the Mammoth plan for this fourth quarter. Back upstairs.
Well, hopefully the message got across. Ed Como, former head man for the Knighthawks. Bob Hamley's the head coach for Colorado. Como and Grant together won the Champions Cup for Rochester in 2007. Good pressure from Gavin Prout. He pushed Ian Lord back into the crease. Native American drum crew here on hand tonight. Lincoln out of reach of Pollock. Brad Self, a little head fake on Adam Jones. Huge check from Adam Jones. And Rochester forced to just throw it away.
Jones got a little inside position. And he just used it to his best advantage, clearing house there.
Grant around McBride's pick, shoots and scores! Jordan McBride didn't score this one, but he freed up Grant. We're tied at 11.
Well, and I know the instructions were to shoot high, as Connor told us, but those little hop shots are just giving absolute fits to Matt Vince. Another rug burn shot finds its way to the corner. And you watch it here from Grant, good pick coming from Jones, and there's another one that just snuck through the 5-hole. And Vince standing tall this time.
A timeout on the floor. The Mammoth averaged 8.5 points a game from John Grant against Matt Vince a season ago. Grant with 2 goals and 5 assists tonight, including this one, to tie the game at 11. .26 to go in regulation. The Mammoth has scored 3 straight in the last 2:52 to tie the game at 11. Fans, the time is now to amp it up and become a Colorado Mammoth season ticket holder. Colorado Mammoth season tickets on sale now. Start at just $72. Reserve your seats today at coloradomammoth.com or by calling 303-405-1101. Bongo, the 7-time Wing Bowl champion, he claims the belt again here tonight.
I'd love to know how the back half of the evening goes for the guys that compete in that contest.
Yeah.
I do not have winging eating skills, I'll tell you that.
How is he smiling right now? That's what I want to figure
They
out.
were really good.
McBride, Vince, we saw his bare knees there on that save. That's pretty unusual with the padding that's around the knees. Vince gave up 13 of the 14 goals in Colorado's 14-11 win a season ago on January 28th when the Mammoth honored the All-Decade team. Point with an incredible catch, and Lewis with a great save. He gave up 16 in the 16-12 loss at Rochester at the end of March.
And again, Lewis continues to be big for this Colorado squad tonight. He's had a couple rough spots, but overall, I think you have to be pleased with his game, don't you, Josh?
I think he's only given up one goal that he'd like to have back. That was Dawson's in the third. Grant, face dodge, shot wide. Got Burton to bite. 2 to shoot. Does Pollock see it? Feeds behind the crease Jones, and it's a shot clock violation.
Jones was setting up. Just not enough time left on that one. Nice snag, though, by Pollock and a little dip under.
Powell, shot. The defender, I couldn't see who it was. One of the Mammoth defenders stepped in front of it. John Sullivan is down behind the Mammoth crease. Now he's back to his feet. Looked like he took a bad step. McBride got bear hugged by Mike Kirk. Both players back on their turf shoes. Midway through the fourth, tie score. Lincoln shot. McBride looks for the rebound. He's down on the turf. And picked up by Kirk. Jones tried his patented takeaway check. Kirk ran away from it, and the Mammoth retreats defensively. Jamison one-on-one with Capito, and he scores. Jamison made it look too easy, left the goal wide open as Lewis bit. Rochester back up by 1.
Alan Jamison just a little duck under move, then he got Lewis moving, and as quickly as Lewis got to the side where Jamison was, as you'll see his 4th of the night coming up here, watch Lewis move with him. Jamison, unfortunately, just had all the time in the world to do what he wants.
Jamison now the leading scorer all by himself for this evening.
Again, Colorado's been giving up runs to Rochester. They got to stop this one right here, pull even again.
Capito, good effort. He got beat on the goal, comes up with a nice loose ball.
Boy, Capito and Park on the floor. I don't know how Rochester wins a ground ball. Those two have been very impressive tonight.
Grant goes one-on-one with Glaves. The lead for Pollock. A rip, save Vince. Glaves has it ripped away by McLeod, and it comes on over to Pollock. Kraut thought about stepping into one, gets pushed down to the turf. Stick tumbles as well. Still plenty of time for the offense to work. McLeod faked one. Pollock around picks, shoots low. And Vince cleans it up.
Now, a couple good possessions by Colorado, but you'd still like to see a little bit more ball movement.
Well, and Ed Camo said shoot high repeatedly. And Colorado's had some low shots. Now, Grant did score on a low shot, but the strategy is pretty simple. Not simple, but clear, I guess.
Right. But sometimes, guys, you know, you're just feeling it. I mean, McBride had one low too, but again, apparently Vince likes to guess low.
McBride around his man, but he's covered up. Good defense from Scott Campbell, the 31-year-old from Elmira College.
Still plenty of time. Again, neither side really needing to press at this point. And let's watch if Colorado stays with its help defense. Since Connor told us about basically the direction not to just stick to your man and give no help, here comes the backside look. And that almost hurt Colorado.
And Vitarelli found himself open again. Grant off the bench, running with Geitch. Geitch shot, and a save by the netminder.
I'm a little surprised that Rochester has not pushed it a little bit more. They've had some success in transition, and they're pulling back, so.
Streaking is Capito. He would have had to catch running away from the goal. Hart flips to Pollock, 4:20 to go in the fourth. Kraut dodging toward the crease and has that one flipped free. Now the wheels from Paul Dawson, 2-on-2, and Konechny cuts off Dawson. Konechny, a nice job playing the angle. Out of the reach of Point. Reed, good pressure on him.
Braden Reed staying with his man.
Andy, a dive shot from Point that actually went forward. Vitarelli has it as the 30 seconds expire, and we'll step aside. The ladies in the hot tub want to see a Mammoth goal or two. 3:38 remaining in the fourth. The Mammoth trails the Knighthawks by 1. 3:38 remaining in regulation. The crowd fired up. Lacrosse fans, tune into Altitude every Wednesday at 5 p.m. for Mammoth Magazine, your inside connection to the ins and outs of your favorite lacrosse team. Join host Todd Romero every Wednesday night at 5 for extensive game highlights, player profiles, weekly chats with Coach Hamley, and a preview of upcoming games. Altitude Sports, your home of the Colorado Mammoth.
So Woolley was out there having a little bit of fun with Matt Vince. Of course, last night you got Rocky and Westbrook, not a popular guy here in Pepsi Center. Rocky had some fun last night.
McLeod to Jones. He was the cutter on the backside, and it tipped off the head of his stick. Tonight's Colorado Mammoth telecast is being brought to you by your local Ford stores. Visit thinkfordnow.com. The clock dwindles down to 3 minutes. Illegal pick called on Johnny Paulus. Colorado possession. Lewis goes halfway and holds there.
A little early, don't you think, Josh? A little early. Still just a 1-goal deficit. Over 2 minutes to play.
Kraut set a pick with his back. Junior took a shot from outside. And right between the wickets, Matt Vince with another save.
Fairly quick shots, though, right now for Colorado. A little bit earlier, we were saying maybe one pass too many, and now maybe one more needed.
Tough catch, McCready. Maybe tougher save, Dan Lewis.
Dan Lewis has got to feel proud of the effort he's given tonight.
Hamley calls Geitch back to the bench. Here's Prout. All the way up top, Grant halfway through the shot clock. McLeod, that pass he had to go up for. Jones trying to figure out where to pick Sid Smith. McLeod just loses his feet and loses the ball as the full 30 gone by. Now it's time for Dan Lewis to come out of the goal after the save.
Rochester's basically been in time-killing mode since about the 5-minute mark with that 1-goal lead. Colorado on their floor needs to make them pay for it. Disruption.
Dawson doesn't even go after it. Rich Morgan does. Ahead to Capito. Lewis now goes. He'll go 6-on-5.
Colorado's got to make this shot count. Stating the obvious, but with your goalie out, you can't afford to let this become 2.
10 to shoot. Grant's open. Had his stick deflected. Got it back. 5 on the timer. McBride on the crease. He sent that one high and wide. He tried the elevator move. Lewis retreating back to his goal. A shot clock violation against Colorado. Pollock hobbles to the bench. Jones stays on the floor. Looking to tip it away from Brad Self.
I thought he had one there.
Little shovel pass, and somehow Vitarelli has it. Out of the stick of Paulus. Jones tries to try him up. 5 seconds to shoot. Dawson, a little behind the back one-hander that Junior scored on last year. Whistles, shot clock violation, a timeout by the Mammoth bench with 18 seconds remaining.
Well, if the Mammoth are going to win this one, it right now looks like it's going to have to be with free lacrosse in overtime, just trying to pull even 18 seconds down the goal. Let's see what they draw up.
There's Dan Lewis on the bench. That's where he'll stay. Fans, did you miss the big goal that everyone was talking about last week? Don't sweat it. Visit the Lacrosse Network online to see the top 10 plays from last weekend's action. You can also watch full replays of every game played this season. It's all there on demand anytime that fits your schedule. Visit youtube.com/TheLacrosseNetwork to get all the NLL action. Colorado really hasn't had this at home. The games have been lopsided one way or the other. A 1-goal contest, nobody's sitting. More cowbell ringing from the stands. Lewis is out of his cage. The 6 Mammoth offensive players, Gavin Prout, Sean Pollock, Jordan McBride, the righties. The lefties are Adam Jones, Jamie Lincoln, and John Grant Jr. 18 seconds to go. Lincoln tries to clear some space. He's open behind the goal. Prout from Grant. It's knocked down by the defense in Brad Self. Ball loose on the turf. Pollock has it. He puts it down on the turf. Jones shoots. It hits off the defender, Dawson. 1 second to go. Prout shoots and scores too late. He scored too late. It was after the clock expired, and the Knighthawks survive. Gavin Prout clearly too late by a second or two. They'll take another look, will the officials, but no question in my mind, as Rochester celebrates and Colorado dejected.
And Paul Dawson may have made the game-winning save, or at least the game-saving save. And I say that because Jones had wound up to shoot the worm burner, and Dawson slid like he was sliding into base in baseball and blocked that shot wide. You'll see it here.
The former goalie in Dawson. The team already shaking hands down on the floor. So Proud, he scored his 300th tonight. 301 was after the buzzer, in our opinion right now, although the officials are still looking. You see the sticks up of Pollock and Prout.
He on the green light. It's on while the pass is in air. The game is done before the shot's ever off. It was just so loud in here, as it customarily is, that you couldn't hear the horn.
The official just said goal. The official just said goal.
Oh, yeah, and he didn't mean
and he said face off. and then said, no, no goal. I've seen that twice this year now. It was a goal. There was no question about that. It was just too late.
And now
John
Hanley's
Grant.
upset with the clock operator here, it looks like.
Well, there were 2 goals by Rochester tonight that I want to take a look at after the game. The first to end the first quarter, when in my mind that shot never should have reset the shot clock. And then at the end of the third quarter, there was 32.2 seconds left on the clock. Rochester went empty net. They scored with 1.4 seconds left, which means it should have been a 30-second shot clock violation if the two were in sync. 12-11 the final. Dan Lewis played well between the pipes in his NLL starting debut.
He gave his team a chance to win. He
And
had
that's
a
what they
number of
ask about.
huge saves one-on-one. I mean, he made the big saves that kept you in the game and prevented a run like we'd seen in some of the previous games. Just not enough offense tonight.
Now let's send it down to tonight's man of steel, goaltender Dan Lewis. He's with Connor McGahee.
Thanks very much, Willie B. Josh. Dan, you know what? It's 12-11, but I'll tell you what, I think everyone in this building thinks you played a heck of a game tonight.
Thanks, Connor. I'm just happy to get the start. I love it here in Denver. You guys love your team, and it's just too bad we couldn't get the win for you guys. We'll come back in a couple weeks here, and we'll try and get it for you.
What did the game look like to you? You get a good perspective of the game. What was your evaluation of your teammates tonight?
We really stepped it up tonight. Again, it just came down to that one goal. We were 2 seconds too late there at the end. They pulled together a great game, and we'll just go from there, build it up.
All right, well, we thought you played well. Congratulations tonight, Dan. We'll see you next time, all right?
Thanks, Connor. Have a good one.
You too. That's starting goaltender Dan Lewis. Back upstairs, Josh and Andy.
Well, a man who has probably cemented his place at least for another few games between the pipes for Colorado will step aside from Pepsi Center. The Knighthawks improved to 4-5 on the season. Colorado at the midpoint falls to 2-6. Post-game next here on Altitude. The Rochester Knighthawks defeat the Colorado Mammoth 12-11 at Pepsi Center. Josh Gross, Sandy Lindahl, and Andy. Gavin Prout scored. It was clearly too late. And Connor had a report down there saying, hey, shoot low, and the guy shoot high. The guy shot low a lot. They got a couple to go in, including Prout's, but just after the buzzer.
Yeah, there were plenty of low shots accounted for him, but again, the sad part, I guess, about that is that the last shot of the game was low, or going to be low, the last official shot, we shall say, by Adam Jones, and a nice sliding attempt by Dawson to block that shot, and the Mammoth can't get it done. They tried really hard, got some really good looks at the cage, just couldn't put it past Vince tonight, and you knew it was going to be a struggle. He's the best in the NLL.
He certainly is. Take a look now at tonight's final stats brought to you by American Furniture Warehouse. More shots on goal from the Mammoth. I mean, virtually everything equal except face-offs, strongly in favor of Ilya Gaich, and a really clean game. Only, 3 penalties the entire time.
Yeah, and a fun game to watch. I like how the refs called it tonight. There were some physical plays that were allowed. They got the crowd upset. There always will be that, but nice flow to this one. Just didn't go the Mammoth's way tonight.
So Colorado, halfway through the season, falls to 2-6. The Knighthawks improve to 4-5. And for the Mammoth, a second half that hits the road in Toronto and Buffalo. So some work certainly to be done.
Yeah, they're going to have to be road warriors, Josh. They got to get a couple wins next weekend and really get back on track. It's going to be big for them to get some road wins.
Well, for Andy Lindahl, Connor McGahee, our entire production crew, I'm Josh Gross saying so long from Pepsi Center. The Rochester Knighthawks have defeated the Colorado Mammoth by a final score of 12-11. Be sure and join us on Sunday, March 10th at 7:10 p.m. when the Mammoth travels east to take on the Toronto Rock, and then the next day on Monday, March 11th at 11:30 p.m. as the Mammoth faces off against the Buffalo Bandits. Tonight's telecast has been a production of Altitude Sports and Entertainment and is a copyrighted telecast of the National Lacrosse League, which may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NLL. Matt Vince, the victor in goal tonight, 12-11 Rochester.